we're live.
Put them at the beginning. Yep, then they don't have to sit if they don't want to. All right, we're gonna call this meeting to order. Thank you all for coming. Please remember, everybody we'd like for everybody to sign in. Speaking policy, if you're speaking on something that's on the agenda, you will be allowed to make your comment during that time. If it's something that's not on the agenda, there is a general comments at the end. With that, Mr. Shimp, do you have any revisions or corrections to the agenda?
There are 3 items for miscellaneous, a fundraiser, a field trip, and a personnel, a couple items on personnel. Otherwise, those are the only updates to the agenda.
All right, very well. I think we had the middle school footballers down the agenda a little bit for in requesting communications, but I think we can move those to the front. So if not all of them want to sit through everything, they don't have to. So we're gonna do that right now. So the floor is your guys's.
Thank you. You don't have to move us up, but we appreciate it. Give us just a second here. Take care of that stuff right there.
It's not my birthday. You're all right.
Picked the wrong place, Kim.
Right there. Be fine. Come on. You guys are all up here too. That's what you're here for. I'm gonna show this stuff off when it's time. Okay.
And that's too long.
All right. First of all, thanks for allowing us to come in and tell you a little bit about what we've been doing. I want to take a minute to introduce everybody that's here. Head coach Colin Stone is walking around behind here. Assistant coach and defensive coordinator Scott Tidwell. And 6 of our middle school players. These are all current 7th graders, be 8th graders that played last season. Starting on that side, you've got Spencer Stone, Liam Slavin, Jackson Woods, Kelby Shelsky, Cole Tidwell, and Jack Reitzman. And then you know who I am, I'm Roy Reitzman. So first things first, I want to talk just a brief second about a little bit about our last season. If you didn't know, the Park Heritage Middle School football team went 9-0 on the season last fall and won the Banks of the Wabash. That's the first time since the consolidation that the middle schools won the Banks. We outscored our opponents by an average of 30.5 points a game. I'll boldly state that this group of boys is a very special group who can be very successful as the future continues to unfold for them. More importantly, they're great kids. We had very, very few problems with anything with them, and that's a testament to the kids and the people that raised them, outside of maybe mine.
With 0 grade issues.
0 grade issues. We had
Grades
one
were
student,
up par.
one player that we had to have had to sit out 2 weeks for grades. Furthermore, the future remains bright because the youth league coming up as well has been very successful. If you didn't know, all these kids played several years in youth league and so on. We had some great crowds at our home games here. Frankly, our last home game and the first game of the Banks against North Vermilion was a heck of an atmosphere. I would almost say it was kind of reminded you a little bit of a varsity game. I mean, we had people from all around this community out here to watch this team play, and it was fun. And we lit up the night. It was a great time. But as the 3 of us kind of took over last summer, one of the things that we realized is that we had a lot of outdated equipment and some things that needed to be changed. And so instead of coming to Coach Moore or Mrs. Reitzman and saying, hey, we need to do this stuff, we took it upon ourselves to go see what we could do for it and get things taken care of. So through these discussions, conversations amongst the coaches and so on, we decided that we needed to go after several things. First things first, shoulder pads. Each of these are wearing a pair of shoulder pads. Spencer's showing you his without the jersey on. We put the rest of them in jerseys. We bought 35 sets of brand new shoulder pads to replace the ones that were here when I played. Helmets, we bought 30. We actually bought 35 helmets, or we started to buy 35 helmets. Let me rephrase that. And then we backed that down a little bit because we found that we had 12 that were only 3 or 4 years old. So we sent them off for refurbishing, and we changed the collar to match the varsity. So we now are the same paint scheme, same colors as varsity, the same decals, everything. We bought 35 sets of pairs of game pants. We were using the same pants for games and practices, and you know anything about football, they won't last very long if you do that. So we bought these charcoal gray pants and moved forward with those. So that was the primary focus on just player equipment, okay? We then moved on to what can we do as far as training materials, things that would make it better for us coaching and for them to learn and so on. So the first thing is it's called a hedgehog tackler. And the concept here is it's kind of 4 tackling dummies all wrapped up into one. So you can kind of form in a circle around this thing, and as each kid hits it, it flips over and another side comes up. So it's an efficiency device as much or more than anything. So instead of having to have 2 or 3 lines, you have kids going all the time back and forth at this thing. Shoot boards, that's a footwork device, keep your stance and so on there. We bought a pair of those, several cones, hurdles, things of that effect, just for, again, for footwork and for getting better. Parachutes, we got a couple parachutes that can force them to run. There's some ladders down there as well. The sleds, we took a hard look at the sleds, and so we refurbished them. And in the stuff that the boys gave you, there's some before and after pictures of the sleds. We had dragged a sled in here, obviously, but we did get it back or get it done. It's basically finished with it. We replaced all the pad covers. Scott spent a lot of time on this subject, stripping the old covers off, redoing the foam that's underneath here, cleaning it up, and so on and so forth. Then took the sled apart, got sandblasted and painted and all that stuff, and it's all back and it's out here ready for us for the fall. This is one of the other pads for the single man sled, and that's one of them for the 5-man. We also purchased a few things to make it easier for us as far as coaches. The helmet repair kit, since we bought all these new helmets, now the hardware's changed. So we had to buy a kit, fix them. We bought some stuff to prep footballs and spare straps and so on and so forth for the shoulder pads and that cart, so we can, when we go to a road game or whatever, we're recruiting everybody to carry all of our stuff, and we can try to throw it all, much of that in there, and save ourselves some work. Last thing we looked at was the physical facilities, and this place is pretty special to me. I know that. I played football here too. And so we looked at some of the things that we could do. And first things first, we got the RMC out to pull any of the burnout bulbs out there, and that is a replacement bulb to go in. And Scott takes that out. That's how big those light bulbs are up there, if you ever wondered. I found that to be quite interesting, how big those things are. We contributed to a PA system so that the gym PA system doesn't have to be moved out to the football field. So frankly, if there's a volleyball game that night too, then they don't have a PA because we took it to the football field. So we've got another one of those now. And finally, we had this really lofty goal of replacing the play clocks. And the play clocks were put in somewhere about the time I graduated, maybe a hair before. I don't know if Scott remembers, but somewhere around that time. And so we got a very generous donation from Center Bank to cover the cost of that. They'll be here about the end of the month, and we'll put them in, and then they'll come and program them and all the things that have to be done with that. So in October of last year, I started sending donation letters to people, businesses, and long story short with that, I really was focusing on a couple things, or about 3 or 4 things. Number one, we generally tried to avoid businesses that are always getting hit for donations, because the last thing I wanted to do was take money from a business that would give it to another program for football. I really didn't want to short somebody out when we're trying to raise funds. We wanted to broaden the donor base a little bit, so that if I could reach out to some of these other entities that don't get hit all the time, then the next organization here has somebody they can reach out to, and they will hopefully remember that that was a good experience with us and will be more apt to give the next time. We tried to focus also on businesses that would be likely to contribute. I mean, I didn't hit up people that I didn't think there was a chance. I mean, I won't waste too much time on that. And then there were a few that I knew would absolutely want to be a part of this, so we hit them up. And from that, we sent 31 letters, each one of them personalized. I gave you a copy of the one that Nick got, just so you can see what we sent. We identified what we were trying to accomplish and set a goal at $10,000, and I'm happy to report that we received 21 donations from businesses and organizations and received a total of $20,107. Each donor after that has received a personal handwritten thank you card, as well as a team picture. All the kids signed thank you cards before the season was over when we decided we were going to do this. So all their signatures are on them, and a picture of the team from last home game, wasn't it? Lori Brown has been running a series of Facebook posts thanking people for their contributions to the program, which is something that we really wanted to do. From those posts, we received another private donation, which was very generous of that individual. And then the coaches, we've, of course, obviously volunteered a lot of time to this. Scott has taken a lot of time on this sled project. It was a big job, but he took complete control of that. Coach Stone has been kicking in on lots of different things. I kind of ran the donation front, and we all worked on what things we wanted to buy and what the prices were and so on and so forth with Coach Moore, and about drove him nuts for a while. And I wanted to make a quick statement about Coach Moore. He would be here with us tonight, but he's at South Vermillion for the Banks game. So just letting you know, he was intending to be here, but he felt that was where he probably ought to be. Jack and I demoed the old play clock, so they're gone out there now, and everything's ready to set posts for the new ones when they get here. We've mowed the field, rolled it, killed the moles, on and on. All of us have kicked in some way, shape, or form. The goal that we have, the 3 of us coaches particularly, is to leave this all here better than we found it. And then in the end, that's what we're trying to accomplish with this. All the money that we've raised and all the things that we've done have also benefited every other school or sport in the middle school, because this is all 5, 10, maybe even 15-year purchases that don't have to be made now. So that money can be used on volleyball or basketball or tennis or any of the other sports. So we've kind of helped. Football's an expensive sport, and we understand that, and we've tried to make sure that we leave it better than what we found it. We want to extend our thanks again to all of our donors, Coach Moore for putting up with us, particularly me, dealing with the vendors, finding the suppliers and all those things. Mrs. Reisman for the same and allowing us to make these improvements to the program. All of you for accepting the donations that we've solicited and collected. Stephanie for helping keep track of it. Lori Brown for thanking our donors through Facebook. All of your help has been greatly appreciated by what we've been doing here. We're going to hold a donor recognition night at a game this fall. We haven't settled on the date yet, but it'll be one of the first 2 home games. We'll invite all of you to come out too, where we're going to have all of our donors are going to be invited in to come out and see one of our games. Halftime, we'll recognize them again. they'll get to see what they got, what we bought with all this stuff, all this money. The banner that we're having made, there's a draft copy of that in your packet that I gave you, or that the boys gave you. And so we're gonna try to make sure they feel like they were truly recognized by us for what they've done. So you've gotten that. I gave you a list of the donors, what we spent the money on, pictures before and after the sled, the draft of the banner, and so on and so forth. And with that, I'll ask Scott or Colin if they have anything they'd like to add, or then ask if you have any questions for us or the boys.
Thank you for the opportunity. I know I've greatly enjoyed being able to do it, and luckily the gentleman I wanted to come with me.
It's been nice having the kids help on these projects too. It's been good getting them involved, taking part of it.
We'll see how good their wiring is when we go to plug play clocks in. We'll worry about that when we get there.
So yeah,
Yeah, let's hear what position we play from each person and your favorite play or whatever, right? Let's hear something. Right here. Receiver?
Probably Vermont switch. It's verticals and they basically switch out and run deep.
Every receiver loves to run deep, right?
Running back, middle linebacker. My favorite play is just like a power play, like Bears.
Quarterback, and my favorite play is probably either verticals or Vermont switch, like Jack said.
Wide receiver and cornerback, Vermont switch, receiver and outside linebacker. I like any slant play.
Lineman and probably just pass play because I don't have to do much besides stand there.
Hitting someone in the face. Talk about that later.
yeah, I don't say.
We can talk about that on the way home.
I could have guessed that would be the answer though.
Any other comments, board members? I think it's, go ahead, someone
What
get.
do you guys have to say to?
Thank you.
I'd say thank you. I think it's awesome. We were able to, you guys were able to raise this money and upgrade this stuff, and I think it's great. And I hope all of you stick with it into your high school careers.
Appreciate you guys making the extra effort, going above and beyond here. You made it better for the next group after you, which is gonna help you in high school too. Cause those guys are gonna get better. They're gonna be your teammates someday. That's all gonna make you all better. So thank you for doing it. It's greatly appreciated. Your coaches have been good examples to you on that.
The future's bright for Park Heritage football, and the class that we sent up, very good. This class is good, and it just keeps coming here for a while. So the future's very bright, and we're doing our part to try to make them better before they get down there. So thanks for the time.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.
See if you got that.
Can't believe you're not even looking at it. That's my favorite thing in football. You guys got that? Thank you guys.
All right, we'll move on down the list here to the minutes from the February 18th regular session meeting.
Pages 1 to 4, I would recommend that you approve the minutes as presented unless you see an issue.
If there are no questions or comments on the minutes, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Elise with the motion. Zach with the second. All those in favor? 6-0. Okay, financial business. Only 5 of us. Did somebody abstain? Alright. 501 with Kim abstaining. Alright. Thank you for the correction.
Financials start,
Yep.
payroll and claims, pages 5 to 20. This is an abbreviated version since we're early in the month, and so again, comparison purposes, there's not a whole lot of sense in going deep in comparisons. But if there are questions or anything stands out, you want me to try to address it, I can, in payroll and claims. Also got the page 21 quarterly and regular financials. Quarterly yet, getting ahead of myself. But you've got the regular financials there. Extracurriculars, pages 29 to 31, and then utility costs. So we have seen a very large gas bill come in, and this is not unique to us. We checked around. South Vermillion initially didn't get the big increase that we did. We were a little bit alarmed, and so I started calling some people and having some conversations. But they did as well get a large increase, like we saw. Essentially, it's practically the whole year's budget in 1 month. Is how high the gas bill was. So we're gonna have to take a hard look at, do we need to do some purchasing in the future or not, ahead of things. But we've got everything from the really, really cold weather, that lots of single digit days. And now we've got some turmoil in the Middle East that is maybe gonna impact those prices as well. Thankfully, we just shut down boilers, so that should help us a little bit on that front. But we did have large gas bills this time. Just point that out. There's only so much we can do to prepare for that ahead. We can do some long-term purchasing. So I'll look back into that and see if that's something that needs to be done, or make a recommendation to you for you to decide if you wanna do that. Outside of that, I would recommend that you approve the payroll, claims, financial reports, extracurriculars, and utility cost summary as presented.
Okay, are there any questions or comments? If there are none, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Gina has made the motion. Kim with the second. All those in favor? 6-0. Okay, move on to donations. Zach, would you like to read those, please?
Yeah. Edward Jones, $250. Park County Community Foundation Way to Go grant, $250. Community Foundation Robert W. Clary Heritage Fund, $1,000. Mount Hermon Bible Church, $40. Community Foundation Law Offices of Merrill S. Thompson, $300. Center Bank, $6,457. Community Foundation Harry and Marjorie Hessler Heritage Fund, $1,000. Michael and Tamara Chapman, $50. Ross and Tessa Chapman, $20. For a total of $9,367.
Again, thank you to everybody who donated. That's an awesome amount of money to get in a month, and we appreciate all of them. So with that, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Zach has made the motion. Second by Mark. All those in favor? 6-0. Okay, we'll move on. We have a field trip. Dr. Shemp?
Yeah, Joe Spur is planning an advanced manufacturing robotics field trip to Amazon distribution. I believe I should say Bonnie, Illinois. She is working on dates for the trip. It's going to take place sometime between March 31st and April. Recommending the board approve this field trip. There's only one Park Heritage student that would be attending, with 19 total students possibly attending the trip through the vocational school program. Since it's out of state, I want to bring that that to you for your approval.
Okay, other questions or comments? We have a motion. Kim has made the motion.
Second.
Lisa with the second. All those in favor? 6-0. Okay, fundraiser.
Got a dodgeball fundraiser for the middle school, March, which is pretty much right now. Goal was to raise $200 dodgeball.
Did we get to the $200?
Yes, and it's all being donated to the Kidney Foundation.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Gina has made the motion. Mark with the second. All those in favor? 6-0. Student transfers.
We had one student transfer that needs to be approved by the board. Seventh grader came over from Southwest Park.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Kim has made the motion.
Second.
Back with the second. All those in favor? 6-0. Okay, approval of after-school transfer.
Page 34 in your packet, you have some details there in regard to after-school funds. And I'm recommending that the board approves this fund transfer in the amount listed of $392.89 for the after-school program, which is now being run by the YMCA in order to close out that account prior to the end of the school year. Just accounting for the most part.
Questions, comments? We have a motion.
So moved.
Zach has made the motion.
Second.
Second by Mark. All those in favor? 6-0. Okay, there is no old business tonight. Requested communications we did at the beginning of the meeting. So we're gonna move on to new business. We have some personnel items. Dr. Schimpf?
Yeah, we've got a retirement letter from Jane McMullen. Jane has been a valued member here for a long time and well, over 30 years she's been a part of this corporation in one way or the other, a prior corporation. And, appreciate all that she's done, and obviously she'll have an opportunity to come in and talk as retirees do, to have a statement with the board in recognition, but presenting that to you for your approval along with the date of her retirement is dated as June 8th, I should say. Then a new hire, Jason Gladwell, temporary custodian, it's March 5th. We're listed in as temporary, we're gonna see where that goes. Maybe it'll end up being a long term. And then there's a leave that I'm recommending that you approve for a Turkey Run Elementary teacher for the whole school year, 26-27. That's Brooke Holm.
Very well.
One question, because Jane's been here for 33 years, she's got a whole lot of knowledge here. Is there any plan to try to get somebody in soon? Or so that they can kind of work together and like we've done in the past?
Since she's been kind enough to submit this letter now, we'll get a posting out there so that we can figure out how quickly we'll be able to get somebody in and see how to try to transfer, some of that institutional knowledge, which is irreplaceable.
Right.
I would hope some of that knowledge has already been transferred to our current counselors over the years that they've been here that she has.
Yeah, unfortunately, Cheryl McDaniel's worked alongside her for a number of years now, but you don't ever replace a person, right? You replace a position when that time comes, so just to find the next best fit.
Other questions or comments? If there are none, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is that
So
Elise?
moved.
Lisa's made the motion.
Second.
Gina with the second. All those in favor? 6-0. Okay, Rockville Elementary project bids.
Yeah, when I put the packet together, we were still waiting for bids to come in. On Monday of this week, the bids were collected, and at that time, Tecton was involved in going through and doing some of the vetting. Tim Garver, if you haven't met Tim yet, he's in the back of the room here next to Mrs. Reitzman. So if you want to have a conversation with him, here he is. He'll be happy to do whatever sort of lengthy conversation. But no, Tim's been really helpful in looking at how this process is going to play out. We've already got dumpsters over at Rockville Elementary. If you haven't seen them yet, there's a lot of material coming out. They were filled within the first morning on the first dumpster, and we've got the next dumpster of just things that have accumulated over the years in an art room that in various places. So as teachers prep for that. And Charlie Galt is here as well. Charlie is going to be, our main person on point for Tecton throughout this process. But the bid packet itself, you've got pages 1 and 2 that are the recommendation letter from Tecton as far as who they're recommending to take what portions of the job or to fulfill the responsibilities of it. And I'll need to read some of this out loud to you. So toward the bottom of page 1, for the general trades and electrical packages, that's 1A and 1D. Strode Construction is being recommended for a bid of $1,136,191. And the alternate is the electrical piece. That's the 19,810 portion of that. 1B, Jack Lorry Floors, $42,853. 1C, Mechanical, HVAC and Plumbing, that's Freitag. Weinhardt, and that is for $1,108,700. Then 1E is Building Controls, Jackson Systems and Supply for $475,003. The total bid package comes in at $2,782,557. This amount is below the budgeted amount, which is great, good news, and it is a faster timeline than we originally anticipated we were able to get done. So it will be, we're trying to wrap it up by the start of school. I'm sure that Charlie can answer some of those questions for you if you have it. One thing I did kind of want to preempt though is on those recommendations, if 1E, the Building Controls, price wise, price point comes into play on each of these, but there's also, when you get into those controls, proprietary companies will often have systems that only work when they're in there working on them, I guess is the most generic way to explain a proprietary system. We're trying to have systems across the corporation that match up. And so that's why you'll see if you look at that particular line item, the selection of that bid was important there. So if you had questions, I want to kind of jump into that because that's where my eyes would go to if I were sitting in your seats. And from there, Charlie or Tim or both of you, if either of you have anything you want to talk about the bid process, page 1. So I've supplied them with each of the bid amounts. And I've also given, we can talk about how it impacts budget after they maybe answer whatever questions you have, or I can answer what questions. Timeline wise, maybe you want to start there. Charlie would be a good place.
Yeah. So we're fortunate that we're going to have some classrooms that we could get started early on. It's so we're really here over spring break. Kristen, the principal, they're getting their last few rooms cleaned out, moved out. So really in area B, which is going to be the pre-K rooms, we're going to get started construction really here in a couple weeks. So if these are accepted, I'll send out a notice to proceed tomorrow. So we can start getting background checks on the workers and starting getting submittals, and plan on having a pre-construction meeting next Thursday and kind of get the ball rolling. And so these classrooms, they get new restrooms, so we'll be cutting the floors for underground plumbing, for the for the piping and different things. So it's really gonna work out well, because they're gonna take a little longer than the other rooms where we're just replacing HVAC in the ceilings, because these will get new floor, new casework. So it's really gonna work well, and we're hoping really to have those, hopefully have them very, if not wrapped up, very close to being wrapped up when school's out, and then we can get started in the rest of the school. So, really, I think the schedule's gonna work out really well.
Any questions by board members or anything?
I'll just add, so while we'll be there working in the school while the students are there. We're working in area B, which may not mean anything to you, but it's kind of that'd be the northeast corner.
You're talking about the music room and that.
The music room,
yeah,
the
okay.
art room over there, that area. We're gonna build temporary walls at the end of those hallways, so we'll be kind of sectioned off. Students will not be able to get back there or anything. Our workers, will be kind of isolated in that. We'll have our entrances to go in and out. We won't have to be in with the student body. So it's really should be a good situation there.
Just because then that back area is kind of their playground, are we gonna have it so that your equipment won't be where they can get to it?
Correct. We'll have it, because we'll have some dumpsters out there and then some equipment, because we are going to be tearing out the ramp that goes down to the basement right there and kind of reworking that area. So we'll have it fenced off.
Okay.
And so we'll be inside that fence area. And I know on that one wing there on the east side, that area, that's how they get to the playground, and then there's kind of the fire alarm, for egress there. I've talked with Kristen. We're going to set up a fence so they have a path that they can get safely around, our work area, and still be separated. So
Okay, good.
I think we got a good plan in place for that.
Other questions? Okay.
So when it comes to budget on page 6, you're wondering if I'm in your seat. So on the bottom of page 6, highlighted in yellow, you see an amount that is remaining from the budget, and that amount in comparison to the 500 and some thousand that I gave to you here before, or 5 million, sorry, that I handed out to you before. There's about $900,000 difference there. That doesn't include the playground piece that was added in later on today. So these are working documents to a degree, so that's already been added in. I thought you might want to see middle of the page. There's already been $796,000 roughly spent on the project. And that came out of on up above the original budgeted amount. So there is some space in there potentially to address other things, but we need to get down the road of approval here, and then we can look at prioritizing. And there are always unknowns that are possible too. And if we get into the pipes and we see the pipes are not as good a shape, and Tecton's built in some contingencies and some other, for lack of a better word, fluff to be able to make sure to cover those things. But there may be additional funds where we can look at the gymnasium unit and looking at some ideas there. Tim came up with the idea that maybe that unit could actually sit on the roof outside of the building if it was to get replaced. So you don't have to deal with the noise, and in the future, people could just walk on the roof and work on it. Sounds like a great idea. I think it must have been something added later on, and that's how it got there the way it is. But that, maybe a boiler, maybe it's the flooring in every classroom. If you've been in there lately, those floors are getting rough. They're rough. It'd be awful nice for them to have some new flooring around the building for every classroom that has kids in it anyways. So these are things we'll work through, but got to get past the initial recommendation on the bid. Hopefully you feel comfortable with that explanation. If there's more you want to know, I'll be updating you.
All right, questions or comments? Yep, it was nice that everything came in under projected. So, if there are none, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Kim has made the motion. Mark with the second. All those in favor? 6-0. Okay. Thank you. We'll move on to miscellaneous business. Like the fundraiser. Yep.
Yep, just have a few items here. There's a fundraiser for the high school FFA. They wanna continue to do the Wolves Classic Livestock Show. That will be June 5th through the 6th. Their hope is to raise $3,000. It's been a great fundraiser over the past few years, so I recommend that you approve that one to move forward.
No questions? Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Zach has made the motion.
Second.
Lisa with the second. All those in favor? 6-0. Okay, another field trip.
Another out-of-state field trip for the welding class on March 26th. That welding class is housed at South Vermillion. Rick Morgan is the teacher there and would be the chaperone. One student who would be participating in that, and they'll be headed to Lakeland College, Illinois. In the year.
If there are no questions, do we have the motion?
So moved.
Gina has made the motion.
Second.
Kim with the second. All those in favor? 6-0. Okay, we have a few more personnel items.
Some ECAs here. We've got Brianne Bridge is being recommended to be approved for $480 for supervision of winter sports. Renee Uplinger, $400 for supervision of winter sports. Bree Wallace, $240. Mary Westbrook, $160. Natalie Noonan, $80. And then on the high school athletic supervision side, Seth Marshall, $833. These amounts are divvied up based upon the number of times that they have gone to events and covered, and that's why they're different across the board there. But not having individuals to help with supervision is a challenge, so thankfully these people are willing to do that for us.
So is this retro? Do we not have a schedule ahead of time, like we talked about the coaches ahead of time being put in place? And then like our fundraisers after the fact, it's hard to approve something that's already happened.
And a lot of times on these particular, I know you end up having people who cover,
Right.
but that may not be the case for all of them. You know, there probably was a plan that Seth was going to be there for X period of time.
That's how
It's such an odd
there's
number.
gotta be some sort of schedule.
Any other questions? We have a motion.
So moved.
Kim has made the motion.
Second.
Elise with the second. All those in favor? 6-0. Okay, that ends miscellaneous business for this evening. We'll move on to the superintendent's report.
And just a few items to talk about here. First off, I wanted to make sure, I know there was a question, I think last month, about Tim Garver and meeting Tim. So again, Tim's here. And if you have any questions for Tim, I know, and probably Mrs. Reitzman could say, I've had a lot of compliments already from people saying they are thankful for the things that have been getting done and taken care of on lists that have maybe been on hold for some time. And I really appreciate that. The principals have appreciated that. I don't know, Lisa, if you have anything you want to throw in there, but.
Absolutely. I've had a list for 4 years of things and he's already gotten several of them done and I greatly appreciate that. He's very easy to communicate with. He makes sure he checks in. And I had a spring break list of what they were going to do 2 weeks ago. We've already talked about what we're doing this summer, so the communication piece has been fantastic and I appreciate him. I've seen him up here so much since he's been here, so I greatly appreciate that.
Where's his office? Is it still at?
Still over at Rockville, but I mean, it would be hard to
Admin.
tell because he
Yeah.
is moving all around
It's
all
like
the
he
time.
probably needs,
Tim also played a pretty significant role in saving us well over $100,000 in the process of getting ready for the bids. Because we need to make those purchases on equipment and because of some contacts and such. I mean, he's already saved the corporation a significant amount of money, so we appreciate having him. Bring him out, require him to come to a meeting, right? Meetings this week. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you. Glad you're here.
The other couple items, so yesterday I met with Tracy Burns, who is on a steering committee for LifeWise Academy. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the LifeWise Academy. Tracy was not meeting with me as a member of the school, but as a member of our teachers, but as a steering committee member for LifeWise. LifeWise is a Christian organization that offers daily or weekly, in this instance, a weekly opportunity for kids to leave school for an hour and to get some religious instruction. State of Indiana requires that schools offer up time in the day for that. This is a group that is looking to do that. So I just kind of wanted to make you aware of it. They had to get a certain number of, I think they had to have 50 people interested or something along those lines. And they've gone through steering committee, and I met with both Tracy and at the same time Zoomed with some people from Ohio. They said something like, I think they're in 900 some schools in 30 some states. So I have a folder of information if you want to look through that, but I just thought you might want to at least know about it in case you see that there's some group who says they're planning on doing something with students. That is a real thing. They're hopeful that they're going to post for a position. Now that's all outside of the corporation. It has to happen at off school grounds. They have to handle the transportation, and they have the liability when those kids are there. That's all a piece of it. They are understanding of the need to work with our schedules. And so they're, if they get to that point, it'd be something that in the next year they would try to figure out, are they doing it for a grade level, they'll have some sort of work into it. Southwest Park, I believe, already has an agreement there. Just want to make you aware of it.
Did you see?
But before there's an agreement, it comes back here, right?
So, yes, we would. It would make sense to me if they would even come and present to the board. I mean, I think that makes good sense to me.
Is that some time during school hours?
Yes.
How,
The
did you
state
say
of
1
Indiana.
hour a day or 1 hour a week?
They're only going to do 1 hour a week. But the state does require that we build time into the schedule for that if parents choose and sign. Yeah. So I want to make you aware of that. As you see that out there in the world. The other thing I wanted to bring up was I met with TransFinder today, which TransFinder is the group that does our bus routing software. TransFinder has more than just routing. They have something that's called Wayfinder. They also have Stop Finder. They have a number of different finder pieces that are apps. And so I'm talking with them about the possibility of maybe doing more with them. Right now, TransFinder is kind of standalone. We've got Amanda Brown who can get in there and she can manipulate maps, and Amanda's getting to where she can have a pretty good understanding of that, and to kind of work with Monty Chaplin a little bit on that. But the next level of that is we can have a tablet sort of device in each bus that would be tracking along the way. If we wanted to, we could have parents even know when their kid checked in onto a bus. We can take attendance with it if we want to. And we can do away with some of the anxiety that happens for parents about where's my kid being dropped off? Did they get on the bus today? Are they on the right bus? We also have students who go 3 different places in a given week. They may go to grandma's on Monday and Friday, but they go to the babysitter on Tuesday, Thursday, and on Wednesday they actually get to go home at the end of the day. Most of them start from the same place, but that adds serious confusion into the process of how do we track kids. So I like the idea of having kids be able to step on and take attendance on the bus. It will even tell you if the wrong kid got on a bus. So it comes up, you've got a red field that shows up behind the kid's name that says not their normal bus. They can either accept or not, because sometimes a kid is riding home and whatever. There is a Medicaid piece to that I would explore again. I've explored it once upon a time. At that time, it didn't seem like a good fit, but there are some dollars available even if we wanted to track students using our transportation. If a kid has an IEP, there's a way to do that. So this would also afford that opportunity to us. It's more about making sure we got the right kids on the right buses at the right time, and we're dropping them off at the right places. And we just need some more tools in our toolbox to do a better job with this, I feel like. So that's why I'm looking at it. Just wanted to know, I'm looking at it, looking into it, trying to figure it out.
Just make sure that like those little kids, that's the one that always seems, they're the ones that just as long as it's so user friendly that K.
Yeah, they said that they can either tap the screen or they had a RFID that they can scan as well. So I'm learning about it and trying to figure out what'll work better, because it needs to be better. That's really all I have in the report. Have any questions about that or anything else? I'm happy to dig into it.
All right, comments from the public? Anybody wish to speak? I know, Mark, somebody offended Mark or something.
Sitting in another meeting.
A more important meeting than ours? Huh. All right, comments from the public is closed. Our next meeting is tomorrow, executive session at 6 o'clock.
Where's it at? Scared?
It's back here. And then we have a work session on April 1st. And the next general meeting is April 15th, correct? Okay. If there is nothing else, we are adjourned.
Is the work session here too?
We can, if you wanna go somewhere else,
Alright.
The go was already advertised.
Oh, yeah, you heard that. I tried to find a different place. It's like.